Welcome to our wonderful people. My sister will say it's a great day to be alive. It's an
Yeah.
exciting time. A
Yes.
lot is happening. Are you awake in the moment? Are you alive to your responsibilities? Are you doing what your Chukwukike sent you to do? Or are you here thinking that a willow song is the song of the day? So, as adults, we must do what we're supposed to do. We are here to make the world a better place. What happened?
Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So
Continue.
we're here to make the world a better place. And will you join us? What is your role? What are you doing in your neck of the wood? Hmm? Are you happy with what you're seeing? Are you a change agent? Do you want to be one of those that plans to leave a better place for our children and children? Or are you the selfish type, me, myself, and I?
Hmm.
Hmm? You wear this outfit today, you wear the other one, you tie your hair, you drive your car, Utuna, nigga, see if the world revolves around you. We need responsible adults.
Yes.
We need good men and women to join us in this movement to give our people a better tomorrow. Well
Yes.
deserving people. Well deserving people. The situation that we allow Nigeria to create left our people the way we see them now. And I know when healing comes, when we do the right things, our people will respond effectively. So my name is Mona Chimsaga, and I am here in Houston, Texas. Please continue to help us to share, like, subscribe, all the things that we need to do to get this message across. We do want to thank those working hard, those calling us during the week, asking questions, those sending text messages. We appreciate you. And please don't be shy. We're going to post our link today. We are your sisters, your mothers, your aunts, however way you want to see us. We are in this together. At the end of the day, what we want is for you to live life and live life abundantly. I will allow my sister to chime in.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you, people. Like my sister has said, we appreciate you. We're here because you're there, and we are working together. Those on the grassroots, those doing one or two things, mobilizing our people, explaining what Ninas is saying to our people in such a way that they understand it. I won't go talking a lot. My name is Epi, and like my sister reminded us, this is an interactive session. Continue to make your comments. We are seeing the comments, we'll put them up, and then we continue. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. Okay, so we just give few minutes for some people to join. So we'll start with a song, and you continue to help us to share the links. Thank you. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Um, I got Wapi also, right? We would love to sit here all day and listen to that song. Sister, were you hearing this song?
Yes, yes, I was.
Yeah, just playing here for me. Awesome. Welcome to the program. Please continue to help us to share, get our people up. We need to make our land a great again. Okay.
Yes,
We will need to make our territory great again. That's the slogan going on. Make everything great again. Stop
yes,
sleeping. No God is coming to do it for you. No man is going to do it for you. You pretending, reading, sleeping, working, thinking somebody else is gonna fix it. Oh no, it go. So the earlier you wake up and start doing what you are supposed to do in the first place, the sooner we can finish. So wake up, my people, wake up. All right, let me go over with an introduction. Actually, I can have this Nina's 5 point proposition. I can have it up. We do our introduction.
Yes,
At the end
yes,
of the day, this is why we're here. We want you guys to get it, to get that Nina's proposition, to
yes.
understand what we need to do to get to our next destination. Everybody's moving forward, though.
Hmm.
Everybody's moving forward. So you need to move forward. We cannot afford for you to stay where you are.
No.
So it's important for us and for you to understand why the 2014 Confab is a Counterfeit National Conference. 20, because it's going all over, because as Ninas is making progress, mad people are coming out from everywhere, throwing, because that's what they do. You will see them, they were running their mouth, doing things, calling Jesus in the midst of it, calling God, shouting, going everywhere. And all the TV channels will be giving them the time that they need to talk nonsense. But the singular thing that can get us where we're supposed to get, they will pick bits and pieces so that it will be just their words.
It's about money making, right?
Oh,
Because the journalists themselves, that's what we call it brown envelope journalism. Those some of those things you see them coming to interview them and whatever. They've given them money already, so they give them money. It's all part of their political move. They want to be seen everywhere so that they will go into politics. You know,
mm,
when they are telling them that the lives and destiny of their children, their future generation, is at stake, and we are facing like terrible times. What is important to them is their personal
game.
ambition. Yes, and personal
Mhm.
ambition. So, and we see the games they are playing, but this time around, that's why they said, why are the nations and countries of the world closing the doors on Nigerians and Africans? So you see, it cannot be business as usual anymore. That game that people have been playing, instead of doing what they're supposed to do, they are playing games. Everybody will chop breakfast.
Scary breakfast.
Okay. Okay. Nigeria will happen
Mm,
to you, your eye go clear.
it's interesting, my dear. So the Doctors of Truth asks, why are nations and countries of the world closing their doors on Nigerians and Africans? Why? So the increasing restriction that we see imposed on Nigerians and Africans worldwide are not arbitrary. They stem from a deeper crisis, one rooted in governance failure and the erosion of indigenous sovereignty. So when people are stripped of the ability to govern themselves, chaos, lawlessness, and economic stagnation becomes inevitable. This leads to a nation riddled with instability where global powers struggle to distinguish between genuine citizens and disruptive elements emerging from this dysfunctional system that we call Nigeria. So the crises facing Nigeria today are not merely products of modern mismanagement, but rather the consequences of centuries of dispossession and imposed governance structures. This began with the transatlantic slave trade, where millions were forcibly removed, stripping African societies of their workforce and leadership. The 1984 slash 1884 slash 1885 Berlin Conference formalized this disposition by dividing Africa among European powers without the consent of our people, creating artificial boundaries that disregarded ethnic, cultural, and governance structures. Nigeria, as a British colonial creation, was forcefully assembled in 1914 under the Amalgamation Act without the consideration of its diverse indigenous nationalities. What is the result? A contraption riddled with ethnic tension, economic disparity, and political instability. The 2014 National Conference, the so-called Confab, is yet another deceptive attempt to reinforce this colonial framework rather than dismantle it. They know to hear words. We're telling them that we are forced to do things, that you have taken away our dignity. You've taken away everything that makes us human. The agents, the current warrant chiefs, the Nwa DCs of our time, they are busy promoting this nonsense. So the only viable solution is to reverse this historical dispossession by returning governance to the indigenous ethnic nations who understand their lands, their culture, and governance system, Foreign imposed structures have failed to serve our people, and no amount of superficial political reform can fix a foundation built on oppression. No amount of superficial political reform can fix a foundation built on oppression. What is the roadmap? The Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, has developed a 5-point agenda that provides a lawful structured pathway towards reclaiming this indigenous sovereignty and restructuring governance in a way that prioritizes the people rather than the political elite interests. As you can see, we have the NINA's 5-point agenda posted. Both all of you that are here most of the time, you should know it by heart by now, that we are asking for the decommissioning of the 1999 Constitution, that we are asking that there's a legal process to render this imposed constitution null and void, which we did through constitutional force majeure, that we are asking for them to restore sovereignty to the indigenous people, that we want to enable regional referendums for self-determination, which will now give our indigenous people the right to decide their political and their governance structures through internationally recognized referendums. And we want to establish a transitional arrangement. This is not a rocket science, but all of you are running from pillar to post as if you don't know what to do, because you never had your people in your heart. It's all about what can you steal? What can you steal so you can be the Oba of our land? The one whose house contains all the generators and all the solar systems and all the waterways, while our people perish in anguish. So why the 2014 Confab is a fraudulent distraction? This Confab, rather than addressing these core issues, they went on to continue the same colonial deception. They failed to challenge the 1999 Constitution, which remains the biggest obstacle to genuine nationhood. Instead, it sought to sustain the forced unity of Nigeria, silencing indigenous voices that demand true self-governance. So today, as we continue this enlightenment campaign, awareness is the first step towards liberation, and we must challenge this deceptive narrative that upholds an unworkable system. The time has come for us to reclaim our lands, restore our true governance, and build a future where indigenous sovereignty is respected. The 1884/1885 dispossession project must be reversed. The 2014 Confab was never a solution. It was merely a tool to maintain a system designed to keep our people in perpetual crisis. The solution lies in our hands. Are we going to continue to accept this deception, or are we going to rise up to claim our sovereignty? So join us on today as we give you more information to let you know you can no longer afford to continue to sleep, because everybody else has moved on. They are moving on. Their country first. Some people are running from pillar to post because they were stopped from stealing. They told them, you can't go there anymore. They got the speech of their lifetime. Where they should know no longer business as usual. Are you part of this struggle? Are you awake? Do you understand what you need to do to get to the next destination? I will allow my sister to add on while I pull up the video of the day. Please continue to help us to share and like and all the things that we need to do to get this message across.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Because we're saying, why is the Confab a Counterfeit National Conference? Like my sister said, it is not, they did not address the fundamental issue. Our people were confiscated, balkanized, their sovereignty taken away, everything taken away. That was not addressed. They went drinking coffee, eating meat pie, and doing whatever they wanted to do for themselves. And they finished, wrote 1 billion page reports, useless things, and refused to address the core fundamental issue. and the indigenous peoples rejected it. So in the course of the show, we will also play video for you from Nina's so that you understand point by point why the indigenous people said you have not addressed the robbery, you have not addressed the confiscation of our sovereignty, the main thing that we should address. And why do we know? We also break it down for you to understand who should be discussing that national conference, who should be there. Is it just anybody you see on the road? You say, you. Oh, you speak Igbo. Oh, yeah, come. You speaking Hausa. Come. You speak Yoruba. They are here. That's not what it is. The indigenous nationalities know themselves, have their maps, have their boundaries. They will discuss from the grassroots and then get to the national place how they want to live in their space. I want to thank those that have seen us for the first time. Please, if you're seeing this video for the first time, type for us first time so that we can recognize you. Our brother Isi Mamodu, thank you, you're welcome. Obi Ukwama, thank you, you're welcome. Tony Nadi, of course, Nina Secretariat, we thank you for the wonderful work you're doing during the week and putting things together. We appreciate it. And nobody is paying anybody. Remember where we were doing freedom fighting somewhere? They were paying themselves 4,000 pounds.
Shout your name on the radio if you didn't pay.
Yeah, they were. In fact, what was more important to them was that Egu Kwama, money for development, money is just for people to be contributing. One was paying herself 4,000 pounds. Another one was collecting 3,000 pounds every month, my people. So we appreciate what our people doing in their time. Some of them, if we call them, they've not slept in days doing this job. So thank you. The first video we are playing, because remember we start from how did they start? Anybody that watched your show, we start our show, you see, we always start with the problem, how it started, and then take you. So please be patient with us. If you're seeing this video for the first time, don't say, what are they saying? Follow us so that you understand the logic. We'll tell you how it started, break it down for you to understand, and then present the solution, and it will make sense and connect. And we always connect everything. How your church is connected to politics, to everything that is happening to you, and everything, how they're connected. If you don't understand how the problem is connected, the solution will not make sense to you. And when we call out some people, it will be as if like, why are you calling them out? We're calling them out because we want change, we want repentance. We're not here to just call people out. When we call you out, we want you to stop what you're doing. We want you to turn around. We want you to repent. So you see how it started. Like my sister said at the introduction, the transatlantic slave trade. Everyone was part of it. Nobody was exempted. The Church of Rome. The Church of Rome, the Church of England, Pentecostal, Arab, Islam, everybody, the Warren chiefs, and my sister will call them, some traditional rulers. So it's not time to say I was not there. And why we are bringing this up is that it's still going on. It's currently going on as we speak. So if you understand that you're part of the people selling our people, still selling them, what do we ask for you? Return, turn around. It's no more business as usual. We can't take this anymore. So please, let's go ahead with the picture, with the video. Thank you.
Owned a sugar plantation on Barbados that profited it about £5 million a year in today's money. They purchased slaves from West Africa and subjected them to inhuman treatment, including having the word society branded on their chests with a hot iron to show that they were the property of the church. Previous Archbishop of Canterbury actually chaired the meetings approving the purchase of more slaves for the plantation. They were needed because so many had died as a result of their inhuman treatment. The church also enslaved children as workers too. The wealth the church enjoys today and its ownership of vast parts of the land and real estate of England and its prestige is because of this shameful blood money from the past. The Catholic Church and many of the popes were no better, abusing the innocent and forcing them into slavery. People often trust religion, religious people, and the church. They shouldn't. It has little, if anything, to do with God or Jesus. It is a human system spawned, controlled, and dominated by men. It is responsible for atrocities throughout history, even up to our present day. The Church of England once owned a sugar plantation on Barbados that profited it about £5 million a year in today's money. They purchased slaves from West Africa and subjected them to inhuman treatment, including having the word society branded on their chests with a hot iron.
Yep, we're not surprised because we keep telling them that religion is all about what they want to get out of it. It was never about you. It was
And
never.
it wasn't about God either.
Mhm. It was not about God either. It has always been about their pockets. And you, every time, oh, they're calling my God, oh, my white Jesus. Oh, I'm going to next week to go see Pope and kiss his hand, and you're calling his name. Ha! What put the from platforms?
Religious psychosis. That's what we call it. Religious psychosis. And it's so terrible. Why we keep mentioning this is because the blood money, the people that made this blood money are still sitting on us. They've not stopped. And it's so terrible that even medical doctors in one of the platforms, medical doctors that practice all over the world, top medical doctors, not even just graduating, those that have become big, do you know that you need to see them go into panic attack? You mentioned, my God, there's no type of name they've not called me on that platform. Antichrist, mommy Christ, sister Christ. They can't even listen to hear what you're trying to say. Oh, how can you be fighting my God? One jumped out and said, my husband is a pastor. I can't stay here and you are disrespecting the people that brought my husband into business.
Criminals everywhere.
Criminals everywhere. These are medical doctors that you think, oh, yeah, their IQ is high. No.
Nah.
And that's what I'm telling our people. You see them answering big titles, medical doctor, professor, this. Don't get bamboozled. Don't think they are well. They are actually sick.
Brainwashed.
Sick.
Seriously, totally
Ill.
brainwashed.
They are actually mentally ill. If you know how you treat Indiara, mentally ill people, treat them like that. Do not expect that they will represent you. Do not expect that they will speak for you. You on the street that you don't have any certificate from a white man. In fact, your brain is functioning better than those ones because that's why you say it's psychosis. Ara. And in the Bible, we are since now we are aroka. Our people know it. When they see you before, like you've lost your thoughts, your thought process, you can't logically think because of the institution you belong, the sect of church that you belong. Our people say, that you are now mad in the name of religion. Our people make this identification. So don't think that we're here it's not calling name, it's actually saying the truth so that we can know where to look for help. People that have lost it, why would you expect that they will do anything for you? They will not do anything for you. They are mentally ill. Of course, we thank our brother, not sick. One, if I don't call your name, why? Please forgive us. He said, "Thank you, my sisters. Thank you too for watching. Thank you for sharing." As a brother or sister, Oma Jesu, Omachi. Religion is not about Christianity. Religion is just an avenue to promote. Something that I'm reading at this thing blocking to promote an ideology, whether good or bad ideology. Please understand it so that you stop fighting for people that are doing their business. We're not saying people should not practice whatever, but you need to understand, like somebody will say, if you must go to church, go with your thinking cap. Understand that you are appearing in a business setup and they're doing everything to promote their business. So you don't go there with your brain at home. And then you go there, they dupe you, and then you start crying. Don't do that. Okay, please, we're playing another video. This is our people, because we're telling you the indigenous people. How do you know these indigenous peoples? They have their indigenous names. Ogoni. You see, Ogoni is not an English word. They have indigenous name. And their lands bear indigenous name. The territory, the map. And they have been agitating everywhere. This is just Ogoni. There are many agitating that these people are destroying our land and destroying us. They're going everywhere, wailing and crying. So this is just one of those such videos. We've seen Yoruba people do their own also. So this is just one of those videos.
Protesters gathered outside London's High Court on Thursday said Shell should take responsibility for environmental pollution in Nigeria, as a pivotal hearing in lawsuits brought against the British oil major began. Thousands are suing Shell and its Nigerian subsidiary SPDC over oil spills in the Niger Delta, a region blighted by pollution, conflict, and corruption related to the oil and gas industry. Godwin Bebe Okpabi, leader of the Ogale community in the Niger Delta, spoke outside the court.
Shell, Royal Dutch Shell, have polluted our land, destroyed our way of life.
Searching for a reliable used SUV? Shop the area's best selection of affordable vehicles.
And the two basic rights that we are supposed to have, rights to live, and then rights to a clean environment, they are saying we don't have it. And that's why we're here in the courts.
In Nigeria, hundreds of indigents barricaded a Shell manifold where a recent oil spill overflowed from a saver pit. Here's an Ogale community leader, Kagima Igwe Benjamin.
Our crops is not coming out. We don't have drinking water mostly. The underground water is seriously affected. Even when you dug the borehole now, you can't get good water to drink in the whole of Ogale.
Decades of oil spills caused widespread environmental damage, destroying the livelihood of millions of communities near the Niger Delta and impacted their health. Shell, however, says the vast majority of spills were caused by illegal third-party interference, such as pipeline sabotage and theft. Shell's lawyers said in court filings that SPDC recognises it is obliged to compensate those harmed, even if it is not at fault. But Okpabi said Shell had made billions of dollars in Nigeria and had a moral responsibility to prevent and remediate oil spills.
That money is blood money.
Very much.
Parts of the case began nearly a decade ago. In 2021, the UK's Supreme Court ruled that the case should be heard in the English courts. The lawsuit is the latest example of multinationals being sued in London for the acts of overseas subsidiaries.
We need to do the same thing here because Chevron, Exxon, Mobil, they're an American company. We need to sue them here in Houston. We need to do the same because we are trying to make everywhere great. You make America great, we make Ogoni great. I mean, the whole thing needs to be made great. Everywhere needs to be great, great, great. So that's why we're saying you must understand what is going on so that you will know what your rights are. You know where to start. People are agitating, like my sister said, everywhere. And you are okay with sitting around and doing nothing. Doing nothing while your people don't have water to drink. We are okay with that. Oh, I forgot, you have your own water to drink. Clean water that you're drinking. So, well, your children are here. You don't care. You're good. The word in a mentuary, we don't know which word atuare. So beware. Wake up, brothers and sisters. Then go ahead. I'll find the next video. Picture. I think you're muted.
I was on another phase. Yes, when I meant to, like my sister said, there's a paradigm shift. The world is changing from colonialism, neocolonialism, to conservativeness, nationalism. which is what it ought to be. You're supposed to be in your space, taking care of your land, protecting your people, providing for your people, not going about meddling in other people's affairs, destroying other people because you want to steal the resources. See this picture that my sister pulled up? This is actually what happened to us at the Berlin conference. All these cult members, I call them colonial monsters, came with their different knives and cut us through. How did they do it? Assuming we formed nations, because nations are organic, and it's formed according to the people that you share common value. You know, like if you have common values with people, you can form nation with them. But that's not what happened in Africa. You see the African map there? They just balkan. That's why we don't say divide. We use balkanization. That's why you see in Rwanda, in Congo, the Tutsi, they cut half in Rwanda, half into Congo. You come to Nigeria, they continued even in the state, the 36 states, which some criminals want to now make 70, maybe 60. I don't know how many they want to pieces it. Eboma, you have Eboma in River State, Eboma in Anambra State. This one, you have Igbo in River State, Igbo in Anambra, Igbo. You have Yoruba in Kwara State. You have like balkanization. You don't care. Why? Because they have a plan to make you politically minority anywhere you find yourself. It's the same way during slave trade. In that ship, what they did is that they will take you, if your house, Igbo, for instance, they put Igbo person, put Hausa person. You know, they packed our people like sardines. So they pack them in like cages, different language, so that you don't hear what your neighbor on the right is saying or what your neighbor on the left is saying. So you can't communicate with them. You can't plan to escape. There's nothing. You're there on your own. So it is something that they have tried and used, and it worked for them, and they're still using it. That's why we call it divide to rule, divide to conquer. It is intentional. So if you are going to change something like this, you have to be intentional as well. It's not something you just say, oh, I think we'll do it this way. I think you do it this way. No, you will need to understand where the problem started, how it started. Then this is how we're going to fix it. So when people are talking about politics in America, you in Nigeria shouldn't be talking about politics because you haven't even started. You are in an open air prison, all of you. Chaos everywhere. You haven't started. So we will need to renegotiate the union. We will need to renegotiate our existence. Then when we have done that, then we will begin to say who will lead us, who will be president and who will not be president. They will be on the table. But guess what your church people are doing? As usual. New birth of new nation. They came. We told you that these colonial monsters came in the name of the Lord, in the name of the church, in the name of mosques. Our sister Oma was talking about, Christianity is community of believers. No, that's not what it is. The Christianity they brought in Africa is community of criminals. They're not believers. Jesus Christ is far away from them, the real Jesus Christ. And by the way, we told you that why is you need to understand what they did is that for them to bring that Christianity to Africa, they changed the personality of Christ. They gave him the face of a white man with blue eye. This is a man that came from Jewish land, where we call Jewish land, because that's not what they were called that time. Black, brown man. His real name is Yeshua HaMashiach, according to the meaning of the language he came from. This man had an identity. He had parents. He had roots. He had where he came from. But they went to Germany, killed 6 million of his people. Why are they doing that? You think they're not intentional? You think they didn't know what they were doing? And then brought fake Christ to Nigeria, that to Africa. That is why they brought religion to you, but they didn't bring God. And that's what we tell you, that the churches in Nigeria is a sect. Whether those that are singing for them or those that are preaching on the pulpit, it is not about Christ. It's a business center. And anybody that is associating with Ninas or Daughters of Truth must understand this first. Because if you don't understand it, your mind will still be messed up. Because you think it's about God. And when we are here saying it, you'll be fighting us. Meanwhile, you don't know what you're fighting. Go and do the research. Then you will understand. They came at us. These colonial monsters came to us in the name of the Lord, bringing fake church, fake mosques, fake religion. They came in the name of politics, bringing fake democracy. They came in the name of business, stealing our resources. See what my sister just pulled up. This is a child in Ogoni land, standing on gold. Yes, he's hungry, picking in the refuse. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, Ndoli.
Does this make sense to you? So they came in the name of NGOs, but their mission is the same. Dispossess the indigenous peoples of their wealth and land, and of course, kill, steal, destroy, and destabilize them. The mission is the same. Whether they are really doing Islam, they are doing Christianity, they are doing NGO, they are doing shell business, oil business, coconut business, whatever it is they're doing is about robbing the original owners of the land. That's what it is. They are not bringing anything good for you. We'll give you an example again about the church. They are very poor. These church leaders, check their background. All these mega church leaders, go and check their background. They all came from a very poor background. I don't call it humble. This is not humble beginning. Because if it's humble beginning, humility, it goes with you even when you're rich. But when you are from a poor, like you are poor, you become so mean. When you see money, you become mean to the people. Because the poverty entered your brain. So you have poverty mentality. It's not just that you lacked money, but the poverty has actually caused something in your brain. So that you are so mean. So these church leaders mathematically built wealth, created wealth, transferred wealth from you. They put a process. They knew what they were doing. They looked and said, these people are mumu. They now put a process on ground and transferred all your wealth through tithes, seed, offerings. From you, they made you transfer it. They call it wealth transfer. We saw it happen because we were inside when they were transferring it. They took some of our own too, but at some time we now woke up and say, what's happening? I remember my husband started giving his tithe to individuals in the church. He will see somebody, you say, take. Because he said, I don't know what the system is all about until we understand what is going on first. So some people began to wake up. So they transferred the wealth. Today, they are multi-billionaires. To the extent that their wealth, they cannot put their wealth in offshore tax havens. Of course, Pandora Papers reported that. So it's not Daughters of Truth saying. They're stupendously wealthy now. Now, for you to see the wickedness, we put a process on the table, Nina's process on the table to free the people. This is a process that if you just put your mind on it, you understand it. They say, no, don't follow the process. You should go and pray and fast. God is going to do a miracle. I was watching them at a nature church when they were doing their so-called new rebirth of a new nation. They continued with their lies. And you said, for what purpose are you doing this? Why are you being wicked to our people? When you put a process in place and created your own wealth for your children and your grandchildren, our own people, you don't want them to follow a process of liberation. You tell them to pray and fast and come and sit down and wait for miracle, that God will do it for them. Why didn't you wait for God to do it for you? Put a process in place and siphon our people's wealth into your pocket and the pocket of your children. But you don't want our people to follow process. What type of wickedness is this? Sorry, my sister, play the video you're about to play.
No, this is good conversation. Go ahead, my dear. Because they need to understand it from that standpoint. You go ahead,
Yes.
When Paul and Nature and his family they are laughing all the way to the bank. The daughter will have her wedding in Dubai. They will invite you to come and have a lavish wedding, all in the name of the Lord, and you're paying for it. Sponsored by you and the rest of the other ones. And it's time for us to wake up. We come here every weekend to shed light on things that you're not sure what is going on, because it's always hati than your bagara. When a hungry man don't really have time to be disseminating information or even understanding information, because you need to eat first. It was intentional so that you don't go and sit there and start asking or getting a mayhem.
Exactly.
It's happening. So we'll play the next video to continue the conversation.
In addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million. Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarajuddin Haqqani. Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan.
Yep, that's what they've been doing. You guys can remember when the election, the so-called Nigerian election happened a few years ago. And we were wondering how celebrities are now telling us to go and vote. From Tom Cruise, here go. Tom Cruise money is smelling from everywhere. Do you know it was the same USAID, the US terrorist NGO? They are the one that pays celebrities to come and tell us to go and vote.
Yes.
That's why you will see them. They will go and meet Boko Haram. They will go and land with a plane, meet them. You can't even go there, but they're having interviews everywhere.
Yes. Relax.
Their money, they will relax. The indigenous can go there. It's always in the orchard that can go Ebendorino. Every time, all the time. They never fail. They tell on stop being emotional. Let's start looking at the policies set by these people. Begin to open your eyes. I want you to think about it from the standpoint that everybody is guilty, including me now, until proven otherwise. Be suspicious of everything. Start from that standpoint. Start from there. Don't believe everything that you're being told. Because now they will tell you, oh, HIV medication will not come through. Oh, women are dying. Ndemwa is dying. You allow this mayhem to continue, they will continue to derail everything that we want to do to get our people in the right direction, so that they will continue to gain on their own side in the name of NGO. We've been shouting about NGO. We've been shouting every time you will see them. An African child cannot find food to eat. She's in the forest digging through trash. Who is causing an African child not to find food to eat? And then the same USAID will not give on your child television, broadcasters. They will land with a microphone. Yes, donate $10. We will feed your child. We will feed an African child for 4 months under $10. and some of you were there thinking, hey, Burukulebe again. The same people, they will set the problem and then they will show up with the solutions.
So-called. So-called.
So-called. Open. My people, stop being emotional. Let's start looking at the policies, because policies drives the world. Policies drive the world. If you don't know what the policies are, you'll be sitting there thinking somebody is for you. Go and look at their track records and you can see they have always been against you.
Yep.
The churches have been against us. The policies everything has been against us. So we cannot sit down and be thinking anybody is our friend.
Everything.
Everything they've told us is a lie. Everything. You see someone answering your name, you're jumping like a disorganized idiot. Oh, Munachi is a USA flying. Munachi would never go to US military and go there to represent you. My interest would be to represent the US military that hired me, not you, dude. You know, follow this one. Oh, Pope will come. He will come to Africa. Try to touch him. You who thunder will strike you and your African hand.
It's all to brainwash you and steal from you. That's
when they do it, it's only for photo ops. They may bring a child. Yes. Yeah. As soon as he drops you, he's going to take shower and wash his clothes. So.
Yes.
Because you're not worthy.
It's not love. It's not because they love you. And we'll give you an example what we're saying. Remember that when we come here, we just don't lament. We bring it up for you. You were here when bring back our girls, Chibok girls. You know when it happened. But what you didn't know is that that thing was staged to take Good Luck out of office. Why do they want to take Good Luck out of office? Because he was trying to renegotiate Nigeria. He was pushing for the reconstruction of Nigeria. That's why he's called for that national conference. But unfortunately, they infiltrated the working committee and made them derail, because that's what they always do. Either we were surprised that they didn't even kill Good Luck. We are surprised that he's still alive, because people like Thomas Sankara didn't stay to tell the story. But thank God today, God has sent another person to liberate Burkina Faso, because they now understood where to go from. Because if you don't understand the problem, you will go and put your hand where they will cut it off. But if you understand the problem, you will know what to do. And people will be saying, oh, how come Tony is in Nigeria? Because you understood what the rights are. You stay within your rights and boundaries and then do what you need to do. Nobody will do anything to you. So Good Luck was removed because they knew that confab he did. And that's what we tell people in America, there are two groups. The so-called liberals and the conservatives. Is about ideology and policies, like my sister said. When you look at the policies, you will know who is for the indigenous peoples and who is against them. So immediately, they moved in to take him out at all costs. I'll listen to him tell you his own experience, his account from himself. Are you there? Please, you can play. Okay, I'll continue to talk until she comes back. So bring back our girls. We will show you the pictures of the people, what they did and what they didn't do. For you, we're just giving you an example for you to understand what we're saying. That the confab, the so-called 2024 confab, that some people are carrying the report up and down right now, is counterfeit. If they know that it will solve the problem, they will sabotage it. But they can only sabotage it if you, the people, the indigenous people, do not understand what is going on and the role you need to play. This is why we come here every Saturday, breaking it down for you, so that you don't go doing the wrong thing in the name of freedom fighting. If you go and put your hand, like those that are testing it now in Anambra State, Soludo for solution. Udogachi, whether it's done right or wrong, you people made this thing possible. You are the ones that made it possible. You didn't listen to us. Now you have become victim. They are using you as pawns in their game. But it's you that allowed your children to be involved in something that will make them fall into the hands of their enemy. Yes, the political class is a major enemy. Anybody standing and upholding, swearing to uphold the 1999 colonial unitary constitution is enemy to the indigenous people. That's how it is. So let's listen to the accounts.
Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that. But if by my own thinking and also the way some other people look at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned.
When this visit,
sending that person.
Go ahead.
I think it has ended, right?
No, it hasn't, please.
Oh.
It has?
To Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter. That tells you something. And we should not sweep this things under the carpet. If a foreign country, whether African country or even America or any other country, interferes with our own elections, we should mention it. Immediately the Chibok issue came up, we expect Nigerians to be concerned. How do we get these girls out? Within a couple of days, we saw people going to the US would bring back our girls' placards. How? Why? And of course, the Mrs. Obama received one of those placards. I cannot take responsibility for the abduction. I don't control Boko Haram. They are criminals. But as a president, of course, you know, it's not the president that go to the field. You have security and intelligence officers that do the work. Let me admit that, yes, maybe they do their best, but their best was not good enough for us to recover the girls. That does not mean that I'm trying to remove myself from any blame. Yes, I may not be blamed for the action, but I could be blamed that my security and intelligence system are not strong enough to be able to rescue the girls. The level of interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming.
It's explain the second.
I couldn't have won the election even with that.
Yeah. So you see what we're saying. Somebody, because we told you that you send us your comments. Somebody made a post, Nedu's post, Nedu Brown. He said the kidnapping of the Chibok girls and the subsequent refusal of the Obama administration to sell to Goodluck Jonathan, the president that time, weapons to fight Boko Haram appears to have been intentional and specifically directed at regime change. You see what we're saying? He said, look at the faces of all our politicians. They are all complicit in the USAID-funded regime change scheme using Boko Haram as the primary tool fit for use. He said, anyway, let's see how, well, okay, that's just, it's coming. So what we're saying is for people to wake up. So you see them. They play all these games.
Can I add something real quick?
Please go ahead.
It's so funny how these people do the same thing, and it's only because we here in America are not awake.
Yes.
We're not understanding what is going on. We're not, reading the news from every avenue. We tend to listen to CNN, which is a state or a federal or FBI funded network or whatever. You don't listen to other ideas. You hear from one place. The same thing that they're doing to us, because you can see they rewarded our sister. Because they always use one of you guys to do all this mess. The same way that we use Reverend Sharpton here. Yes. They will use them to make noise, make it sound like they are for you. Onyoji is helping Black people here. At the end of the day, Sharpton will get funded. Sharpton will be taken because he did the work. So they will reward him with a TV show, with everything. He will be the spokesperson. The same way Obi
Ezekwesili, yes.
As soon as she was done doing all of this, now she's a presidential candidate. They profiled as a presidential candidate.
Exactly.
Oh, now before we know it, they gave her a position at this university to be teaching, and my people will be clapping. Oh, a black woman, first black woman teaching. And you guys have been begin to wake up our people.
Well, please, can you show the pictures? Just show more of those pictures for our people to see. You see the people, you see the stage. You are in the front. You don't know Neri Goginazo. You will be eating at the back. So they are in front playing their games. Why we're saying this is for you to wake up. So that when we say look deep, anything you see, look deep. Look deep. It's about colonialism and neo-colonial projects. And they have the puppets in the land. Please, there are more pictures. Just run through the pictures as our people are looking. That
Our
is
sister said Obama was the worst thing that happened to America, and
good luck, Bello Jonathan. Yes, Oma Jesus, Oma Dafe Enuma. Thank you so much for joining. Please, the last picture before this one. That's no, before, just go back a little bit. Who is that? Is that not Tinubu? Hey! Are you not seeing it? Are you not seeing it? So we're doing this for you to open your brain to understand what we're saying. So please can go forward. So these are the pictures for you to understand the game that was played. See the people. See them with their glasses. Who are the people that you know that wear this type of dark shade in broad daylight inside house? You know them now. You know what they do. You know that I don't need to tell you who they are. That one's bringing back your girls. They're bringing back your girls. Please, more of the pictures. We are just making our people to understand what the show is. Now, of course, you know who this person is. You know what it is. So they stage it and then execute it. See them. If you actually look deep, you can follow what Doctors of Truth has been teaching. Meaning that the slavery has not ended.
Hi!
Neocolonialism is an extension of transatlantic slave trade. It is, and it needs to end. Thank God the people of America are waking up. Thank God for social media. That's why they voted out these criminals. And the man in the White House is sweeping everywhere. It's going to affect some of us. It's going to affect some of our people. That if we don't cleanse the land, like what Soludo is doing in Anambra State, you have to cleanse the land of criminals. Then you can begin to replan. That's what we say. You need to remove from foundation the Nigerian system. You can't build anything on top of that fraud. On top of fraud. Once it's fraudulent, it's fraudulent. It's like counterfeit currency. What can you possibly do with counterfeit currency except to throw it away, burn it, or counterfeit passports? You can't reform it. You burn it and start all over. The Nigeria that you are standing on does not belong to you. It doesn't belong to you. It's the product of the colonizers. And everybody in the West, in America, is not a colonizer. We are living with them. We talk with them. They're divided into two. Some are the colonizers. Some are human beings. Just like you have in Nigeria. Some are human beings. Some are reptiles. Agua ati. So we must differentiate and then know, because it's about collaboration and alliance. In this whole world, everybody is not evil. Let those that support evil be on one side. Let those that support good be on one side. Then we team together. I'm telling you, those that support good are more in number. It's just that they did not know what was happening, which is why we come here to bring information. Let's listen to, we told you that America is making a U-turn because it's a new day. It's a new day in America. Americans, they are making a U-turn. There's a paradigm shift from colonialism, from globalization to conservativeness to nationalism. We're explaining so that those in Africa will understand what is going on, because they will need to team up with some of us, indigenous peoples. And you don't come to America, White House, and you'll be doing all those shenanigans that you people are doing. Once you meet them, they will call our team, because we've been in that place more, our member, not me, okay, so that I don't start dropping names. We have people working with us, and they have been everywhere. We told you that Nina's team was in White House 2019 for 7 months. breaking down everything to them. So Trump is armed with information. That's why you see some things he will do, you'll be surprised. How did he know? He is well informed.
He's a common sense president.
He's a common sense president. He's not your everyday politician. So things will happen. This is not his vice president, but the next video we are playing is his vice president. That's his name, JD
Vance.
JD, yes. So listen to him. It's a long video, but we want our people to listen so that you understand, because they need partners. In you listen to us. And we want you to say no to propaganda and disinformation. We see people on social media, they'll bring ring lights. Say things they don't know. But if you listen to Daughters of Truth, we don't do propaganda. We don't do lies. We tell you as it is. Truth. Hoping that you will embrace truth and begin to walk in the direction of light and stay away from darkness, because there's nothing good in darkness. Thank you.
Main stage there at the Munich Security Conference, where J.D. Vance, the U.S. Vice President, is preparing to deliver his remarks. He's just being introduced, I understand, by the chairman of the Munich Security Conference. Let's listen in. There he is.
I wanted to talk about today is, of course, our shared values. And, you know, it's great to be back in Germany. As you heard earlier, I was here last year as United States Senator. I saw Foreign Secretary David Lammy, and joked that both of us last year had different jobs than we have now. But now it's time for all of our countries, for all of us who have been fortunate enough to be given political power by our respective peoples, to use it wisely to improve their lives. And I want to say that, you know, I was fortunate in my time here to spend some time outside the walls of this conference over the last 24 hours. And I've been so impressed by the hospitality of the people, even as, of course, as they're reeling from yesterday's horrendous attack. And the first time I was ever in Munich was with my wife, actually, who's here with me today, on a personal trip. And I've always loved the city of Munich, and I've always loved its people. And I just want to say that we're very moved, and our thoughts and prayers are with Munich and everybody affected by the evil inflicted on this beautiful community. We're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we will certainly be rooting for you in the days and weeks to come. Now, I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather at this conference, of course, to discuss security, and normally we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents. that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent, to build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country, where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation. Misinformation like, for example, the idea that coronavirus had likely leaked from a laboratory in China. Our own government encouraged private companies to silence people who dared to utter what turned out to be an obvious truth. So I come here today not just with an observation, but with an offer. And just as the Biden administration seemed desperate to silence people for speaking their minds, so the Trump administration will do precisely the opposite, and I hope that we can work together on that. In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town, and under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree. Now, we're at the point, of course, that the situation has gotten so bad that this December, Romania straight up canceled the results of a presidential election based on the flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors. Now, as I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections. But I'd ask my European friends to have some perspective. You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Now, the good news is that I happen to think your democracies are substantially less brittle than many people apparently fear. And I really do believe that allowing our citizens to speak their mind will make them stronger still. Which, of course, brings us back to Munich, where the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations. Now, again, we don't have to agree with everything or anything that people say. But when people represent, when political leaders represent an important constituency, it is incumbent upon us to at least participate in dialogue with them. Now, to many of us on the other side of the Atlantic, it looks more and more like old entrenched interests hiding behind ugly Soviet-era words like misinformation and disinformation, who simply don't like the idea that somebody with an alternative viewpoint might express a different opinion or, God forbid, vote a different way or, even worse, win an election. Now, this is a security conference, and I'm sure you all came here prepared to talk about how exactly you intend to increase defense spending over the next few years in line with some new target. And that's great, because as President Trump has made abundantly clear, he believes that our European friends must play a bigger role in the future of this continent. We don't think, you hear this term, burden sharing, but we think it's an important part of being in a shared alliance together that the Europeans step up while America focuses on areas of the world that are in great danger. But let me also ask you, how will you even begin to think through the kinds of budgeting questions if we don't know what it is that we're defending in the first place? I've heard a lot already in my conversations, and I've had many, many great conversations with many people gathered here in this room. I've heard a lot about what you need to defend yourselves from, and of course that's important. But what has seemed a little bit less clear to me, and certainly I think to many of the citizens of Europe, is what exactly it is that you're defending yourselves for. What is the positive vision that animates this?
All right, so we're going to stop this video here. We'll post it in its entirety on our webpage, or actually can go to TW to listen to the whole video. So the point that we're trying to make, I'll allow my sister to talk because I need to pull up the next video.
Yes, the points we are trying to make, like Mr. said, that there's a U-turn going on, and we don't want you to be left in the darkness. For the longest time, 25 years, Ninas have been working, doing things, putting things in place, meeting important people and explaining to them what is going on against what the colonial people were doing. And today we are seeing the dividend of we're seeing the results of what those meetings have achieved. And we don't want you to be left in the dark, because when you are left in the dark, things will happen to you and then you start shouting. Meanwhile, if you listen to us, if you came to follow what we are breaking down, you will be part of what is happening. You will be part of it. You'll be doing the work. Now, just to summarize what he said, he had him talking about shared democratic values. You can't build a nation with people that you don't share core values. It doesn't happen. So in renegotiating Nigeria, it's going to be based on shared democratic values. The people that will share the same value. We must not force you. If you want to keep your children and say it's feudalism, and you want to do chop up your children off your hand off your children, do it in your space. That's basically what America is saying. But they are ready to work because power belongs to the people. But we have to define the people. Who are the people that power belongs to? the owners of the land, the indigenous people, not people that strolled into your space because one politician wants to make money and he wants to go and bring all the reptiles. All the reptiles inside evil forest. Bring them into your country and say, yes, we are now citizens and we'll do whatever. Things are not done that way. There's what you call core value. For you to build a stable society, the members of that society must share core values, even if we don't share everything, but there must be core values, like life being sacrosanct, life, like human beings being born equal. These are core values, not one that wants to chop off the head of other people and then you want to build nation with that person. What nation are you building? Political power belongs to the people, meaning that the people are the ones that temporarily give power to whoever they chose to vote for, to do certain things for them. The power does not belong to drug barons or criminals that will confiscate power, take the people's mandates, and impose their views on the people, and that his ring readers are clapping for him. No, that's what he's trying to say. And you know, Americans, they don't just talk for talking. When they come out to speak in public, this is what the policy change is geared towards. As they're speaking, they're doing. You'll be seeing the doings. My people will say the doings, right? You'll be seeing the doings. Remember, in some of our videos before, we have told you about Trump's June 2020 executive order. If you go in our video and type it in our channel, Daughters of Truth, you will see where we broke it down, read it out, and give our people details of what happened. Now, there was an interregnum. Somebody came in after 2020. Certain things were suspended. After the interregnum.
Guess who did it? Your so-called Democratic Party that you guys are so in love with.
Exactly.
The same way Obama tried to stop Good Jonathan when he was good luck, when he was trying to do the right thing. So that's why we say follow the policy, man. Follow the policy and the money too.
Yes. So after that, there was interregnum. So now we are back to business. We are back to where we were going. Like somebody said, hey, what was I saying before I was really interrupted? We are really interrupted. Now we are back to where we were going before. Putting back power to the people, taking power back from criminals, drug barons, all of them. You better be running, looking for where to hide, because this man in White House is not laughing with you. So fundamental issues. Because you see, peace, we must return peace to this world. Global peace is being threatened, and we must return peace to our societies and to the world. The blessings of liberty. You heard him talk about blessings of liberty. You heard him say that even when people have different opinion, you don't just go and use media and social media companies to bully them into silence because they're not saying what you want to hear and what you and your criminal gangs are saying. He said that they will protect your rights, even when you want to say something different. He said they will protect your right to say it and say it in public. Not people like in my platform where they can't even hear me say, oh, see what church people are doing to my people. They don't want to hear it. And I'm an antichrist for daring to voice out that dear pastors, our children, sorry, I can't say it in English. Do you understand? That your church pastors now make so many things to our people. You don't want to hear it. What type of a Christian are you? Even Christ is ashamed of you. So the vice president said a lot of things, and which, like Mr. said, it's there for you to go and follow. You must understand what is going on. He spoke about mass migration. You can see that taking people back where they belong, and because they want to protect their own space. Now we have to protect our own space. We can't leave our space ungovernable, and that is why we're doing what we're doing. We want to have shared civilization. He said it's time to take our shared civilization in a new direction. We can't continue to deceive ourselves. We can't be saying that we don't know what is going on when we are the ones making the thing to be out of control. We put policies in place that is making migration out of control. It has to be addressed. We are not going to play lip service at it. So people are seeing what you see them denying visa to some people because they are talking, they are planning. You cannot destabilize Nigeria and then you want to run to Canada, you want to run to America, you want to take your children there to go and school and think it's business as usual. While my people are dying. And at the end of the day, these countries are the ones that will suffer. If anything happens to Nigeria and Nigeria goes up in flames, guess the people that will suffer? It's America, it's UK, all these countries. So they are getting it, they're understanding it. You that you're Nigerian, if you are there on social media dancing a willow, you don't know what is coming. So we must embrace the wisdom that is in the voice of the indigenous peoples, the owners of the land. They are working and they want to collaborate with people that are progressing also. So we'll put out more comments and details and highlights. Because of time, we will not go through all of that. So this video we're trying to bring up is the last video. Please bear with us. It's Nina's still talking about why the indigenous peoples, true Ninas, rejected the 2014 Confab, the so-called National Conference. Because when people say National Conference, it's important to determine who are the people coming for the National Conference. The delegates. If you're going to get delegates based on the 1999 Constitution, that is the problem. Those selecting from the states, that is the problem, coming from 1999 Constitution. That means you don't even know where we're going. That's not where we're going. Because it's simply, so we're not going to do that. We'll run through this video. We might not play it to the end. My sister will stop it where she wants to stop it, and then we'll give you the summary. Thank you so much.
With our very first interview on the show this morning. I'm focusing on what Mr. President had to say while addressing Nigerians yesterday at the 53rd anniversary speech, where he talked about the convocation of a national conference. With Victor and I in the studio this morning is one Nigerian who have been a strong advocate of this conference from time immemorial, Mr. Tony Nadi, who is the convener, Movement for New Nigeria, and also the Secretary General for Lower Niger Congress. Thank you, sir, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nadi. You have severally spoken about the convocation of a conference to discuss some of the most burning issues in Nigeria today, and how the decision of the president to raise an advisory committee to set out the modalities and procedures for a national conference. How did that news get to you?
Well, with a measure of relief, I must say, though I consider it a marginal improvement from what the situation demands. You know, a marginal improvement in the sense that all this while they had insisted that sovereignty now vests with the government to decide for us on all kinds of things. And our position had been that if they go to section 14, subsection 2A of the Constitution of Federal Republic, which they are using to manage Nigeria today, they will see the basis of all the arguments that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. There's no other way. They know that that is the truth. Yet, Absalom Abubakar and a chain of other military presidents since 1966 took it upon themselves to usurp the sovereignty of the people and impose the constitution exclusive, to the people. That is to say, they became the sovereigns by stepping into the, almost as if stepping into the shoes of Britain that had governed us for almost 70, 80 years up to that point, to impose a constitution that starts with the preamble, we the people. That is a forgery. That's a sick.
Okay, let me get you correctly now, Mr. Nadi. So you say that this is not necessarily a solution to what we have.
The discussion we are asking for is that originating discussion amongst the ethnic nationalities that the British locked in here and called Nigeria. from that time in 1914 to now, it had not been their decision to be together. And the terms of that decision, of that being together, had always been imposed.
Let's ask you this question, because it's coming at a time where everyone is saying, yes, it is very timely to have a national dialogue.
Yes.
For some people, it's not really whether it's sovereign or not. That is the issue. The issue is we have got things to talk about, and there comes a time, thank goodness, the president is talking about it. Some would describe you as a pessimist. Isn't it too early to predict that this might not lead to the outcome we all desire as a people?
I was looking at the terms of reference. The first one must commend the statesman in Mr. President in taking this kind of a decision at this time in the midst of all the noise against it. And I was saying that it's not yet to hurry, not near where we will just come to the point where let's hope that this advisory committee, because many of the people on the list are people who have been in and out of the process we had embarked upon for over 15 years, to let Nigerians know that our situation is exactly like the situation of South Africa under apartheid constitution. What we're talking about is that all of what we're lamenting about, if you want to know what we want discussed, for which reason we are saying we have not even started, that preamble to the constitution that says we the people have decided to live here according to this constitution is saying that the Ijaw people have decided to submit their land and their people into a Nigeria. And the terms of that submission is what the constitution is supposed to be discussing. And what we're simply saying is that what happened to the closest example from where everybody can copy, so that we don't get lost in the forest, so that we don't set up a fight that can be avoided.
Okay, now when you talk about the people,
let me learn so that we can get it in perspective. We're not anarchists.
Okay.
I've spent 15 years of my short life to look into all the departments of we've been going all over the place, digging into the archives. I have here the documents of Lugard by which we were chained into this bad arrangement. We have all the documents they've been trying to hide from us, and we're going to expose it to our people. We already have some advertorials running since last week, and more will come in terms of bulletins. We're saying that we have a situation in our hand that is exactly like the apartheid constitution of South Africa, in which a minority imposed a constitution on the owners of the land, on the majority, and became the new owners of the land for 80 years. It came in 1910 or 1912 and stayed all the way to 1990. And what Mandela and Co., they had a parliament. Why was apartheid constitution changed by anything of the parliament? The government of Frederick de Klerk in 1990 came to the point where, having been resisted on the street enough, announced that the apartheid constitution of South Africa will have to be changed, and that a discussion that will bring a totally new constitution will have to hold.
This is what you want Nigeria to do.
This is the only thing, that's not what I want. This is the only thing that can solve the kind of problem we have. If they do not do that, they will be leaving the ethnic nationalities with no option but to exit the union on their own terms.
Now, the question I want to ask you, if, for instance, now I have reactions from Alhaji Tanko Yakasai, who leads the Nigerian National Summit Group, NNSG, saying that this could be Nigeria's last chance. Beginning now, the present, that Nigerians, if Nigerians fail to present and pursue common good positions, beginning now, but rather delight ourselves in our often vain and bitter debates as to whether or not the National Conference should hold, we'll still have none other to blame when they transform Nigeria, restructured through candid national dialogue shall emerge, without our people having been best represented by the fractiously selfish political class. And that is his reaction. I also have the reaction of the Ohaneze Ndigbo. Are you saying that even the Afenifere that says President Jonathan should be commended, are you saying, don't you think it's too early for you to disregard this effort?
No,
in as much as the president said, the advisory committee is to set modalities. He hasn't even mentioned the nomenclature of this dialogue.
I agree.
But he has said that, look, Nigerians would expect that people like you and others who have been in the struggle, who have been asking for the national conference, would at this point close ranks and see how you can, work this out. So don't you think that it's too premature to disregard whatever is being done right now?
Let us use this precious opportunity to explain to our people all over the country what the dialogue should be all about. Our quarrel, if you go to the terms of reference, item 6, as I was looking at it this morning, the item 6 on the thing says all of what there was. If you read it out, it may fit into my. Just read it out, please.
To advise government on legal procedures and options for integrating decisions and outcomes of the National Dialogue Conference into the Constitution and laws of the nation.
That thing, what you just read now, defeats the entire essence of calling any conference, and it tallies with what David Mark was telling us the other day, that the conference will hold, but that nobody is going to discuss whether we live together or not live together. And that is the only question 75% of the country wants answered, uninhibited.
No, this 75%. Let me
tell you how I arrived at 75%.
How did you arrive at it?
Tambuwal, Speaker of your House of Representatives, said
My
that
house.
all of the politicians,
Our House of Representatives.
as long as this is the basis of Nigeria, I tell you that more than 3/4 of the people trapped here do not want to have anything to do with that country. If you take a referendum today, that is what you will find. The only people who insist we must keep it, including some people I see on this list. You saw Mabeza and his patriots, how they are talking about Nigerianism. That is, they do not imagine that it is possible for anybody to say he will not be in Nigeria. They say nobody has a right to suggest that there will be no Nigeria. Whereas, unless we go to agree on the basis of submitting our lands into a new union, the fraud that Lugard put in place in 1914, and we have evidence of it, has come to an end. It will expire naturally 31st December 2013. That is the full 100 years. The current fraud of 1999, in which Absalam Abubakar and his confederates in the PRC made a constitution and lied that we the people made it, renders this entire document.
Okay,
so
Mr. Nadi,
if we are sitting on a
tell us how
Nigeria
you plan to achieve
what
you are saying. Okay. Tell us how you plan to achieve what you are saying. Because what you are asking, hold on one minute, is that this constitution should not be. And you expect that a total overhaul. Let me finish. You want a total overhaul of this constitution, and you liken it to the South African appetite. Okay, tell us the process to get into what you are saying, because the president also, do not forget, assumed office, or all the people you expect to do something about it, assumed office based on this document. So what is your practical step to getting this done?
South Africa in 1990 came to this bus stop where we have just arrived. The sitting government that was elected, and there was a parliament, Frederick de Klerk, he now, for the first time up to that time, accepted that the apartheid constitution could no longer be the basis of the South African society, because it was imposed by a white minority to take the lands and the rights of the blacks. And that is exactly what we have here. The Ijaw lost their land and their oil and gas to Nigeria because some military president under Gowon seized it by decree. The Lagos port belonged to Lagos people. Nigeria takes more than 2 trillion naira from this port every year, but from independence to date, not one controller general of custom of Yoruba origin. And therefore, if Gani Adams now says, how did we come to this? And he pick up arms, the discussion that should be holding is one in which the government of the day will have to accept that this apartheid constitution can no longer be the basis of Nigeria. We are not anarchists. In the suit we filed in 2007 against the constitution, we asked the court to give an order that will compel them within a period of 18 months to remain in office and work out that discussion that will lead to a new constitution. That's not too much to ask for, because South Africa did it. They accepted that the apartheid constitution had to go, and they called everybody.
Now, let me relying on them to work out a new constitution.
No, they are not saying so. In that terms of reference, they say how to incorporate whatever.
No, I'm asking you how you intend to arrive at a new constitution.
How it will arrive.
Okay, we're gonna play this video. I can't stand to hear these stupid ladies. These are paid agents.
They have to defend themselves. So sometimes that's why when they ask, because if not, they will come for them. They will kind of push it to who is speaking. But basically, people, what we're saying is that if you want to practice a true democracy, demo means people. The people will matter. And when we say people here, it's not the people you're finding in beer parlor and say, you. go and represent anybody you want to represent. That's not how it's done. It's the indigenous people, because these indigenous peoples are the ones that were colonized. If Nigeria is still a colonized entity. So if we want to decolonize, we must begin with identifying the original owners of these lands, ancestral lands, were colonized and balkanized. So if you want to begin to do good, it's like you enslaved somebody. Somebody say you enslaved me. You're buying me shoe and bag. You say, okay, I know I enslaved you, but take shoe. What's all these designer bags that people are talking about? Louis Vuitton, Onyenwa, Chacha Abani,
Fuchi Mama.
Fuchi Mama. All those stuff that they're using to collect your money, buying bags and shoes for you. How has that ended the enslavement? You stole our land, took our properties, our sovereignty, our lives, our destiny, everything, confiscated it, playing jamboree at Abuja. We say we want our people to be set free so that we can go and start the life the way that the God that created us. You say, no, that will never happen because you are carrying a chakabula. No, it's no more business as usual. The world is tired of the number of migrants coming from Nigeria. Everywhere you see them carrying properties at different borders. Please, let me come inside. Where are you from? Nigeria. The world is tired. And the world is standing up to do something. And you see Trump, he will insist that the right thing is done. He's not going to play that game with you people. He's not your usual politician. So we don't have choice anytime at this time. What you need to do is call Nina's team, or rather see this 5-point agenda that is displaying here. This is the agenda. The meeting has started. Is either you're inside the meeting or you're outside. The meeting has started. And all the people that will play the role that they will play, they're already playing it. And we are moving gradually to final, what they call it at, we're going from temporary ground to permanent residence. I can't remember how they say it, you know. So we are moving to the final solution of this whole mess and chaos. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. Yes, we are definitely moving. We'll post this Nina's agenda. Actually, it's on the Lower Niger Congress. If you go on their Facebook, it's there to get more information about Nina's, because there's a paradigm shift going on and nobody's waiting for you anymore. So you either be part of the process or you will be the process. I can't even see. Oops.
Yes, we want to thank our brother Chuks Nathaniel, and then Ogunremi Olaniyi David. Please keep the comment coming. We say this is interactive. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So yeah, go to ninasvoice.org to be part of this process so that you're not the process. The template has been set, the agenda is there. The whole thing has been streamlined just for you to go in and do your part. And if you're one of those that don't like to read voluminous information, reach out to us, give us a call, send us a message, Actually, let me put a link.
Or go to our channel and then you see website videos. We've treated all this. You type it, video in YouTube, in Facebook, you will get the details. Some of people that are working today in Nina's, it was from Daughters of Truth that they sat down because we tried to break it down. When Nina's has brought the official document, because Nina has to make it official, we now come and use our local language, Pidgin English, everything, to break it down for everyone to understand. Because we are building a new society. We have started. This is transition. Transition is ongoing. It started already. We're not going back.
Right. So this is the link to join our WhatsApp. We have plenty of them. This is just the one I was quickly able to post.
Yeah.
To join us, this is where we disseminate information through the week and get your hearts ready, your mind ready for what is to come, and also share ongoing information because things are happening every day. They're not waiting for you. Yes. So thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us. Please join us in this movement. Do not be the process, rather be part of the process. Until next week, brothers and sisters, remain safe. Thank you.